Welcome to Unspoken Affaircy. We'll never forget that day. Unlike the calm routine mornings I had grown so used to, everything changed in an instant. For years, my life had followed a predictable rhythm. I would wake up, make myself a cup of coffee, and stand by the window of my quiet home watching the world go by. The sun would rise, people would rush off to work, and the same silence would settle over my house like it always did. It wasn't a bad life. It was calm, safe, steady. But somewhere deep inside, I carried a void I could never quite explain. A feeling that something was missing no matter how hard I tried to ignore it. At 61 years old, I still clung to pieces of my youth. I exercised, took care of myself, and dressed in a way that made me feel confident. Every time I looked in the mirror, I tried to see someone vibrant staring back at me. And yet, when the house grew quiet at night, I couldn't deny the truth. Loneliness is heavy. It doesn't shout or scream. It whispers in the silence, reminding you of all the things you no longer have, and all the moments you thought you'd live but somehow missed. That was when Jack entered my life. Jack wasn't a friend or a relative. He was the delivery man, just 22 years old, full of energy and youthful spirit. With a kind smile that had a way of making even the simplest moment feel lighter. At first, it was nothing. He would ring the doorbell, hand me a package, say thank you, and be on his way. But slowly, I found myself waiting for those brief encounters. I kept ordering things I didn't really need, books, small decorations, even random gadgets, just to hear the doorbell ring and see him standing there again. I told myself it was silly, that it didn't matter, but my heart would always race just a little faster when I saw him. Then, one morning, everything changed. I had just stepped outside when I saw Jack riding through the neighborhood on his motorcycle. His smile was easy and carefree as he waved to a neighbor, but in a blink, the tires slipped on loose gravel and he fell hard onto the pavement right in front of me. My heart jumped, and without thinking, I ran to him. His elbow and knee were scraped, his face showing the pain he tried so hard to hide. "Judith, I'm fine," he said quickly, brushing it off with that smile of his. But I shook my head. "Don't be ridiculous," I said firmly. "You're hurt. Come inside. Let me help you." He hesitated, as if unsure whether to accept, but I wouldn't take no for an answer. I helped him pull the motorcycle to the side and guided him into my house. Sitting him on the couch, I rushed to grab my first aid kit. My hands trembled as I cleaned the scrapes, but I tried to steady myself so he wouldn't notice. He watched me quietly, and for the first time, our usual small talk gave way to something heavier, unspoken. "I didn't expect you to be this kind," he said softly. "Most people just want me to drop off their package and leave." His words caught me off guard. I looked at him and something shifted inside me. "You're not just a delivery man, Jack," I said, surprising myself with my honesty. "I see how you treat people. You're caring, thoughtful. Being around you makes me feel alive in a way I haven't felt in a long time." The silence that followed was thick, almost overwhelming. For a moment, neither of us spoke. His eyes stayed locked on mine, and I realized that something far deeper than casual kindness was growing between us. Over the next few days, our connection deepened. Jack stopped being just the delivery man. We began talking more, sometimes on the porch, sometimes while he carried boxes, and sometimes just by chance in the neighborhood. One day he mentioned how his living situation was becoming difficult. His landlord was pressuring him, and the commute from where he lived to his job was exhausting. Without fully thinking it through, I found myself saying, "Jack, I have a small apartment next to my house. It's not rented out right now. If you want, you could stay there. It would make things easier for you." His eyes widened in surprise. "Judith, you don't have to do that for me," he said, his voice tinged with disbelief. But I had already made up my mind. That decision became the turning point. The next morning, Jack arrived with a truck and 2 friends to move his things into the apartment. From my window, I watched him carry boxes, laughing with his friends, his youthful energy filling the air. Something stirred in me as I watched, a feeling I hadn't experienced in years. Later, I brought them coffee and offered dinner. His friends had to leave, but Jack stayed. That evening, we sat across the table from each other, a bottle of wine between us, and for the first time, we spoke openly about life. Loneliness, I admitted after a sip of wine. Sometimes it feels unbearable. I've spent so much of my life living for others, and now I wonder what I have left for myself. Jack listened carefully, his expression soft. Loneliness is tough at any age, he said gently. But you, Judith, you put so much care into everything. Your home, your cooking, even the way you carry yourself. It's unfair that someone like you should live alone. His words struck me harder than I expected. For years, I had longed for someone to notice, to see beyond the surface. And here was this young man looking at me as if I mattered, as if I wasn't invisible after all. That night, something sparked between us, something I couldn't ignore. But I knew I had to be careful. There was a line I wasn't sure I should cross. The days turned into weeks. And with every passing moment, the bond between Jack and me grew stronger. Sometimes we would sit on the porch late into the night talking about dreams, regrets, and hopes for the future. Other times, it was the small things, sharing a laugh over a spilled cup of coffee. Or simply sitting in silence, comfortable in each other's presence. But as much as I tried to resist it, the truth became harder to deny. This was no ordinary friendship. I felt alive again. One evening, after another long conversation, I realized just how much he had come to mean to me. My heart raced, my mind filled with questions. Was this simply gratitude, a fleeting connection? Or was it something deeper, something that could change both of our lives forever? And that night, as I lay awake staring at the ceiling, one question echoed louder than the rest. Was this the second chance I had been waiting for? Or was I stepping into something I wasn't prepared to face? From that moment, the story of Jack and me truly began to unfold. Days passed into weeks, and weeks into months, and the rhythm of my life changed. No longer did I wake to an empty silence. No longer did I drink my coffee alone by the window. There was laughter now, and conversation, and the warmth of knowing that just next door, someone I cared about was there. Jack became part of my daily life in ways I hadn't expected. Some mornings he would help me carry groceries. Other times I would find myself cooking a little extra food, knowing I'd take a plate over to him. He began fixing little things around the house, the squeaky gate, the loose handle on the kitchen drawer, things I had ignored for years. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, made the bond between us grow deeper. One evening, we sat outside on the porch as the sun dipped below the horizon. The sky was painted in shades of pink and orange, and for a while, neither of us spoke. The silence wasn't empty. It was comfortable, filled with all the words we didn't need to say. Then Jack turned to me and said quietly, I never thought I'd find a place where I felt at peace. Everywhere I've been, it's just been temporary, like I was always passing through. But here, it feels different. His words settled deep in my heart. I wanted to respond, to tell him I felt the same, but the lump in my throat kept me silent. Another night, over dinner, I confessed things I hadn't told anyone. How I had once dreamed of traveling the world, of painting, of living a life filled with adventure. But somehow I had let those dreams slip away in the rush of responsibilities and expectations. Jack listened intently, his eyes never leaving mine. "It's not too late, Judith," he said firmly. "You're still here. You're still alive. Those dreams don't have to stay in the past." His words lit something inside me, a spark I thought had long gone out. For the first time in years, I started to believe that maybe my story wasn't finished yet. The seasons changed, and with them, so did we. Our conversations grew deeper, our silences more meaningful. The world outside didn't seem to matter as much as the world we were quietly building together. And yet, beneath it all, there was always that unspoken question, that lingering tension that neither of us dared to address. It wasn't fear exactly, it was something more complicated. A mixture of hope and uncertainty, of longing and hesitation. One night, as the rain tapped softly against the windows, Jack and I sat by the fireplace. The glow of the fire cast a warm light across his face, and in that moment I realized how much he had come to mean to me. My heart ached with the weight of it. The knowledge that what I felt was no longer something I could deny. Jack must have sensed it too, because he turned to me, his expression serious. "Judith," he said quietly, "I don't know where this is going, but I know one thing I'm grateful. For you, for this place, for everything. You've given me more than I can ever repay." I swallowed hard, my throat tight with emotion. "You don't owe me anything, Jack," I whispered. "You've given me something too. Something I thought I'd lost forever." The fire crackled between us, and in that moment, I understood. This wasn't just about filling the silence or easing the loneliness. This was about connection, about two souls finding each other in the most unexpected of places. It wasn't about age or circumstance. It was about the undeniable truth that sometimes life gives us exactly what we need when we least expect it. And that was only the beginning.